If you've been watching my videos, you'll know from the Nancy Pelosi one or the military industrial complex one that things ain't panning out too well. In my podcast, Under the Skin, I speak to some brilliant and influential people. Edward Snowden, the whistleblower, Adam Curtis, the filmmaker, and YANIS VAROUFAKIS, the former co-leader of Syriza. Great political thinkers, people with genuine insight in the way that power operates. And in these videos from my Luminary podcast, Under the Skin, which you can subscribe to if you've got Apple, they talk about how power operates and how we can never rely on centralized governmental systems like the type we are offered these days to do anything other than reiterate the kind of corruption, dishonesty, and disingenuity that we've come accustomed to. Have a look at these three great thinkers, these three great people talking about these issues.
First, we have to understand the nature of government. And that's a 6-hour conversation. But the short of it is government and the act of governing, just the word itself, implies controlling, right? In a simpler time, when we're talking about a hamlet, about a village, government can be fairly simple, and government can be fairly uncontroversial, right? It's about roads, it's about irrigation, it's about making sure that drunk isn't peeking in through people's windows or breaking in through their windows. But as society becomes more complex, as government expands, government takes on more and more roles, government tries to control and regulate more and more things. The people who comprise government, there are so many of them that responsibility becomes diluted, in kind of policy or power, until the point where eventually government stops really thinking and government begins acting through its own inertia, right? And if the goal of government is to control society, they might say more politely, to order society, then that begins to happen sort of reflexively without thinking. As technology advances, as the capabilities which are theoretically available to government expand, government will move like a wave, like water, to occupy the full space available to us, right? That water is going to go to the edges of that glass. So what happens is we do things that we can rather than things that necessarily we should. And there are so many people involved in that act of government, and there is a vacuum of the kind of everyday heroism that I was talking about, because they think it's not their job. They think that's for the president. They think that's for the judge. They think that's for the Congress. They don't realize government is comprised by the individual at scale. And when the individual subordinates their own judgment to merely this ideal of the goodness of the system, right? In whatever country, people are justifying their involvement in the machinery of government by believing in sort of their national myths there. That you get these policies as a result. And so you get 30 people in a meeting, and probably 25 of them have the same thought, but none of them voice it because it's not good for their career, right? And it's not really their job anyway, and they've got another meeting in an hour, and somebody will get it, or the lawyers will get it, or whatever.
There is a sort of sense that those in power, what is the word, are trying to hold an old system stable. And that every now and then, over the last 20 years, great big rumbles have come up in all sorts of areas. And it's true in China as well. China is an extraordinarily corrupt society, as not in its own way, probably as corrupt as Russia. Vast amounts of money are looted and brought to the West. There's a sense of a lack of meaning and purpose to all those societies. And a sense of people trying to escape back into strange old dreams of it. We're not alone with Brexit. Putin, from about 2011 onwards, 2012, has been trying to reawaken old mythical dreams of Russia. And of course, Donald Trump was trying to do the same in America.
And then you have somebody like Jeremy Corbyn and Bernie Sanders coming up, posing a threat to the established order, garnering a lot of support from young people in particular, in both countries, the United Kingdom and the United States, who entered those parties as outsiders and almost took them over. And what happened was, both in the case of Jeremy Corbyn and Bernie Sanders, was the machinery of the party coalesced. They got serious about the business of overthrowing these usurpers, as they saw.
The films I sent you, I put a quote at the front of the films now from a guy I really admired who was an activist and an anthropologist called David Graeber. I put a quote which he wrote once, which I just think sums up everything I believe, which it just simply said, the great hidden truth of the world is that we made this and we can make it different again. No, we can just as easily make it different again. That's what I believe in. I believe that you can change the world because we've done it before. Whereas where we are now at the moment is a great feeling that, no, we can't change the world. It's just too complicated. It's going to go backwards. And we just have a sense of inevitability. But that's sort of ignoring the fact that what Graeber's trying to get at is we made this. We did it. Whether it's good or bad, we did it. It didn't just happen. We can do it again. We can make it better if we have the confidence to do it. And what I'm trying to trace in all the films is all the different currents that have led to the eating away of that confidence, eating away of that certainty that human beings can. They will make mistakes and they will stumble, but they can change the world because they've done it. You know, the world we live in is a world that was changed completely over the last 100 years. With some horrors, that's true, but also with extraordinary things like the science that now makes the vaccine. That's one little rant.
I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please comment, because it will help me to understand what other subjects I need to address and how to address them. So many of the things you say are so helpful in advancing the way that I see the world. You help to evolve my perspective. Give us a thumbs up and a like. Please subscribe. And if you need some meditation and some self-care and some love, go over to Awakening, my side channel, where you can learn different techniques, breath techniques, all sorts of stuff that will help you. And if you can, subscribe to my podcast, Luminary. Go over to Apple and do that now. If you want to be a member of my community, go to russellbrand.com, sign up for my mailing list, and then we can be connected and we can learn more stuff together, evolve our perspective, and start coming up with some alternatives, because as long as there is life, there is hope. Thank you.